She never expected her birthday to feel this heavy. Sitting alone at the restaurant table decorated with a single balloon, she kept checking the door, hoping her blind date would walk in. Instead, people walked past her with quick glances, assuming she'd been stood up. She tried to smile through it, but the ache in her chest only grew. It wasn't the date she was waiting for anymore, it was the feeling of being seen, appreciated, and valued on a day that was supposed to celebrate her. As she pushed her untouched glass of water away, she whispered to herself that this was just another disappointment she'd learned to survive. She didn't know that someone much smaller, and much braver, was about to rewrite her entire night. She was ready to leave when tiny footsteps stopped beside her. A little girl, no older than 7, stared at her with big hopeful eyes. The woman blinked in surprise as the child tugged on the sleeve of her jacket. "Are you okay?" the girl asked softly, as if she sensed the sadness. The woman forced a nod, but the little girl didn't move. She seemed to study her, like she recognized something warm in her, something familiar. And then, in a trembling voice that carried more courage than she realized, the girl asked the question that froze her in place, "Can you be my new mom?" At that moment, the woman forgot the empty chair across from her. The world went quiet, and her heart, bruised moments ago, suddenly felt pulled toward this child who looked like she was carrying her own heartbreak. The restaurant noise faded as the woman knelt to the girl's height, trying to understand what could make a child ask such a thing. Didn't want to scare her or give a promise she couldn't keep. She spoke gently, asking where her parents were, but before the girl could explain, an exhausted-looking young father hurried over. Apologized, embarrassed, but the girl clung to the woman's hand like she was afraid to let go. The woman sensed it immediately. This wasn't just a random question. It was a plea from a child craving something she had lost. And yet, the father's tired eyes carried a different kind of sadness, one that hinted at a story too heavy for the middle of a busy restaurant. He thanked the woman again, trying to coax his daughter away, but the girl refused, whispering that she just wanted someone kind like her. The woman felt a warmth rise in her chest, not pity, but recognition. She knew what it was like to feel forgotten. She knew the weight of wanting someone who wasn't there. As she gently held the girl's hand, she sensed something rare and unexpected forming, a connection she couldn't explain. The father noticed, hesitated, then quietly asked if she might join them for a moment. It was supposed to be a simple dinner, but the universe had other plans. She followed them to their table, unsure why her feet moved so easily toward strangers. The girl sat close, practically pressed against her side, as if afraid she'd disappear. The father introduced himself calmly, but there was a tremor in his voice, the kind that comes from carrying too much alone. Slowly, the truth came out. The little girl had lost her mother 2 years ago. Her birthday had been last week, and she had spent it quietly, without candles, without celebration. And seeing the woman sitting alone with a birthday balloon made her believe, for a moment, that maybe birthdays didn't have to feel lonely. Maybe the woman sitting in front of her could fill an empty space she'd been carrying for too long. Hearing this, the woman felt her heart squeeze. She had spent years putting others first, hoping someone would one day choose her the same way. Now, this small child was choosing her, openly and without hesitation. Father watched them both, realizing there was something comforting about the way his daughter leaned on this stranger. The woman didn't know what would happen next, but for the first time that night, she felt like she wasn't the only one who needed someone. Dinner became something unexpected, warm laughter, gentle conversation, and moments that felt strangely natural. The little girl kept sneaking smiles at the woman, giggling every time she caught her eye. Father seemed surprised at how easily his daughter opened up, how safe she felt beside someone they had just met. The woman listened, nodded, asked questions, and offered the kind of reassurance that didn't feel forced. The father admired her calmness, the way her presence balanced the chaos he'd grown used to as a single parent. Still, the truth lingered in the back of her mind. She didn't come here for this. She came for a date that never arrived, a birthday that felt forgotten. But now, somehow, this moment, a shared dessert, a child leaning onto her shoulder, felt more meaningful than anything she had hoped for. And when the father suggested they all go for a short walk outside, she agreed without thinking. She didn't want the night to end. Neither did the girl, who held her hand tightly, as if she had found something she'd been searching for. Outside, the evening air felt softer, almost comforting. The streetlights made everything glow, and the little girl happily swung their joined hands. The woman, this walk felt surreal, like stepping into a life she never imagined but somehow fit into perfectly. She overheard the father quietly apologizing again for the earlier moment, but she shook her head, assuring him that meeting them was the best thing that had happened to her all day. The father hesitated, then admitted how hard it had been raising a child alone, always fearing he wasn't doing enough. His voice cracked slightly, revealing a vulnerability he rarely shared. The woman felt the honesty in his words and responded gently, telling him he was doing better than he believed. The assurance didn't feel forced, it felt natural, like she genuinely meant every word. Little girl stopped suddenly and wrapped her arms around the woman's waist. "Please don't disappear," she whispered. The woman felt tears sting her eyes. She wasn't used to being needed this deeply, not by adults. not by children. But hearing those words made her realize something. Maybe she needed them too. As the night neared its end, the father walked them back toward the restaurant parking lot. The girl refused to let go of the woman's hand, clinging with innocent hope. The woman wished she could freeze time, hold on to this warmth, this unexpected connection that had turned her disappointing birthday into something unforgettable. Before she could say goodbye, the father asked if they could keep in touch. He was nervous as he spoke, but his sincerity was clear. He wasn't asking as a man seeking romance, he was asking as a father who saw how his daughter had blossomed in one evening. The woman agreed, her voice soft but steady. The little girl jumped excitedly, insisting they should all celebrate the woman's birthday properly another day. Hearing that made her laugh, really laugh. For the first time that Eve realized that sometimes life didn't give you what you asked for, it gave you what you need. And she needed this connection more than she had realized. When they finally parted ways, the little girl hugged her tightly, promising she'd wait for their next meeting. The woman whispered that she would be there, and this time, she meant it. Her birthday ended in a quiet car, but her heart was louder than ever, filled with something she hadn't felt in a long time, hope. She replayed every moment of the night, from the painful start to the unbelievable twist that brought a little girl into her life. A girl who saw her heart even when adults failed to. A father who seemed genuinely grateful for the comfort she had given them both. She didn't know what the future held, and she wasn't rushing to define it. But she knew one thing, she wasn't alone anymore. Someone out there, two people, actually, wanted her in their lives. Maybe not as a mom today, maybe not as anything romantic right away, but as something real, something meaningful. And as she whispered a birthday wish before driving away, she realized it had already come true. It began with rejection, but it ended with connection, healing, and the beginning of a new chapter she never expected. A chapter where she was finally chosen, not by the person she expected, but by the one who needed her most.